And so I think for most of us, this might be not one of the topics that we think of when it comes to back to school. But I don't know about you guys. I have a few teenagers, and my heart breaks a little when I see their friends show up with monster drinks in their hand. And I do my very best to educate my teenagers, but there is influence. And honestly, they're trying to solve a need. They're solving it with something we don't want them to solve it with because it's not a real solution, but they're showing you what their bodies are actually needing right now, which is more energy. So how do we instead teach our kids, teach ourselves how to have a routine where we have the energy to get up in the morning, where somebody's not having to drag us, our alarm clock, we haven't hit the sleep button 6 different times. Our teenagers have the energy they need for their brain to fire off. And I want you to rethink about what energy is. So just in case you didn't know, when you consume caffeine, it doesn't actually give you energy. It's basically telling your brain to ignore how exhausted you are. And so, how many days in a row have you been telling your body, I'm not listening to you. I don't care how tired you are. We're just going to force it today. Versus instead, when we reach for two solutions that create long term energy production from a cellular level, where we don't need to reach for the emergency. I have to ignore, I didn't get the 8 hours of sleep I needed last night and force it through today. Instead, we wake up on a daily basis with our cells having the energy they need to function, which means an entire body that has all the energy it needs to do all of its jobs, not just telling our brain to ignore how tired we are, but now all of our organs have the energy they need to optimize their function. And so that's why we bundle together the energy targeted solution because we're meeting it from multiple avenues of how to increase cellular energy. So I'm going to dive into a little bit about our foundational wellness products, and then you guys get to hear from Alex DeBell. All right, so let's talk about cellular energy. When we have the greens, we have berries, when we have nutrient dense foods into our system, when we have a nutrient dense supplement system, then all of a sudden our cells have what they need to function. So every second you have 37 billion trillion cellular reactions happening. So it's a real number, didn't make it up. So every single second, and every single one of those 37 billion trillion cellular reactions require a enzyme and a cofactor. And when I say cofactor, I basically mean a vitamin or a mineral. So our cells need the nutrients to be able to do their job. And so when we are completely exhausted, when our organs aren't optimized, it's because we didn't show up for them. And so they're not able to show up for us. So just by providing the right nutrients, all of a sudden those cellular reactions can happen because the fuel's in the system. Things are able to fire off, right? So we want to make sure we have the right nutrients in the system for our cells to do their jobs. So a couple examples, we have our green superfoods are rich in chlorophyll, iron, B vitamins. Those are all essential for oxygen transport and mitochondrial energy production. We have improved mitochondrial function, leads to more efficient ATP energy generation within cells. And then we support sustained energy throughout the day. So it shouldn't feel like, well, my day starts off fine, but by 2 p.m., I need a 6 hour nap. Then we know that there is a dysfunction in the body. Our cells ran out of the nutrients they needed to do their job. And so it's kind of in shutdown mode, right? Our dark berries, our goji berry, they're all rich in nitrates and antioxidants. Those all improve circulation. So not only do we need the nutrients there, but they need to be able to get to the cells that need them. So we want healthy blood vessels, reducing oxidative stress. Better circulation ensures that nutrients and oxygen are efficiently delivered to the cells, improving energy levels and promoting overall vitality. And then you guys heard Laura Jacobs mention earlier, we not only have amazing bioavailability, means we can absorb the nutrients in VMG very well, but we also have something called bioretention. So when Dr. O and Dr. Stevens ran research on our VMG, we found that 8 hours later, 8 hours after taking VMG, the nutrients were still in circulation. So our body didn't flush it out compared to many other ones a couple hours, so maybe 2 or 3 hours. And our cells don't all line up at 7:30 and be like, she's drinking VMG, grab what you need for the day right now because nothing else is coming. Instead, you take your VMG and 8 hours later, there's still very high levels in the system for our cells to go, I'm throwing up a flag, I need vitamin C right now. I'm throwing up a flag, I need vitamin D right now. It's in the system when our cells need it. Next, we have our omegas. So again, going back to that squishy balloon or the crunchy, oh, I already forgot my words, paper mache. You don't want the crunchy cell. So when we have the crunchy cells, when we do not have enough omegas, our nutrients cannot move into our cells effectively, and waste product cannot move out of the cell effectively. So having those beautiful buoyant cells means the nutrients that were in circulation when the cell throws up its flag and it's like, I need something right now, those nutrients are able to move through versus those very dense cellular membranes that are low in omegas. It has a really hard time, no matter how much is in circulation, it's not able to get into the cell. So hopefully that helps you understand why pairing E omega with VMG is so incredibly vital. Plus, with EPA and DHA fueling energy production, and limonene helps to maintain healthy cholesterol levels, we want to make sure that circulatory system doesn't get clogged up. So we dived a little bit deeper. DHA and EPA, which is in our omegas, they integrate into mitochondrial membranes. So not only the outside of the cell membranes, but now we have all of the little pieces of our cell membranes, of the cell in there. They have their own membranes. We want to make sure that healthy mitochondria are essential, know that they're essential for efficient ATP production, which is the energy currency of our cells. And omega-3s promote healthy blood cell membranes, again, enhancing the transport of oxygen to cells, which is crucial for aerobic energy production. Can only carry that oxygen if we got enough iron in there. We've got a highly absorbable form of iron in our VMG. So again, E-omegas are partnering with our VMG. EPA helps regulate inflammatory responses. We don't want to waste energy on the wrong activities. So we want to make sure that a healthy inflammatory system helps cells function more efficiently, preserve the energy for essential metabolic activities. And then we have our PB Restore. So our example, if we go back to that key in the ignition, fuel in the tank, right? Our key is the essential oil. We need fuel in the tank for the car to actually turn on. A PB Restore is a difference of having a key to a 2025 Corvette or having the key to a 1991 Honda Civic, which I had one. So if you have one and you love it, I'm not knocking it. We're just saying what engine would be more efficient with the fuel that it's utilizing. What's giving you more energy, a better burn? And it's that Corvette engine, right? So we want everything to come into a system, and having a healthy microbiome means those nutrients coming in, they're utilized effectively, efficiently, and they're burning and putting off more energy with every piece of nutrition that's coming in. So let's talk a little bit about enhanced nutrient absorption. So obviously our diversity in probiotics, when we have probiotics in the system, that improves digestion, that improves the absorption of the essential nutrients. So we're taking such an amazing product in VMG, but we want it to come into a system that can absorb it, utilize it, convert it. We want to make sure that prebiotics are in there feeding those beneficial bacteria so that they stick around. They need their snacks. We want a healthy inflammatory response so we don't waste energy. We want to focus all that energy in normal metabolic processes. And then our postbiotics help us create things called short chain fatty acids, which further assist in supporting our gut barrier integrity, which reduces immune overreaction and helps us preserve energy production. Okay, guys, I know you were excited when I mentioned you guys get to hear from Alex DeBell.
Thanks, Lauren. It's great to be with you guys. I love the setup that Lauren gave about the need for energy. I've got 4 kiddos who are back to school as well. I think this need to create energy inside of our cells and then actually feel that energy is a real need for all of us. So we're going to talk about 2 of my favorite products that are in this category that help us actually create cellular energy and what that means for us. So also with kids going back to school, as we're heading into the fall season and we're approaching, people are mingling together maybe in ways that they haven't before, and we're running around and our bodies are dealing with extra stress, we want to contribute to more immune resilience. And so this requires energy. So in supporting our body's ability to produce more energy, we're supporting our immune system. Our immune cells require ATP, which comes from mitochondria, when our mitochondria are functioning properly. And then when our mitochondria are functioning properly, we have better immune signaling, we have better regulation of a healthy inflammatory response. We're able to have a more effective adaptive immune system, which is that kind of learned memory that allows us to respond to those chronic immune insults more rapidly. So we want to have that resilience built into our system so we don't have to slow down and be threatened that way. So we're talking about the true cellular energy, which comes from the mitochondria. As Lauren mentioned, we don't want to just mask fatigue. We want to make energy. And I love the depiction here about a fire because when we have a fire, we provide fuel. And then that fuel is burned to create heat or energy. And that's what's happening inside of our mitochondria. These powerhouses that are located in our cells, they're they're bringing in fuel, our macronutrients, the food that we consume. They're fed into our mitochondria where they're oxidized or they're burned. And the output is cellular energy in the form of ATP. And the reason it's in the form of ATP, this is called our cellular, this is our energy currency. So this form of energy can be transported all throughout the cell and all throughout the body to fuel a number of different processes that require that energy. So that's why it's so important to create ATP and to support mitochondrial health. So this is doTERRA's MetaPower Mito2 Max, which is all about supporting mitochondrial health. Now, if you've been with doTERRA for a while, you know we used to have a previous version of this product, which was fantastic, but we've updated it to be even more effective at helping support mitochondria and producing that cellular energy in the form of ATP to increase our cellular fitness, which we recognize as VO2 max. So I'll call out on a couple of ingredients. The first one is our Aerodictyon californicum, which is also known as Yerba Santa or Santa Herba. There's a couple of different names. This botanical ingredient is unique in this product and it's unique in the space. And we'll talk about how it works in just a little bit. The other ingredient that is worth calling out is the PQQ. And this is included in this formula for the purpose of enhancing not only our mitochondrial function, but also the cell's ability to make mitochondria. So we want more powerhouses inside of the cell. We'll talk about what that looks like in a second. So unique formulation of Mito2 Max. We're including natural ingredients that are supporting the actual production of cellular energy, and they set this product apart. Some of the specific ingredients that set it apart and contribute to its function, we'll talk about coenzyme Q10 and PQQ. Together, these are sometimes considered spark plugs for the mitochondria. They transport electrons, which are required for the ATP synthase enzyme to make ATP, right? As the name sounds, ATP synthase. It synthesizes ATP. And for that enzyme to function properly, we need to have an electron gradient. And so these two players, coenzyme Q10 and PQQ, they're helping to shuttle electrons inside of mitochondria and create this gradient, which allows that enzyme to function. We have acetyl L-carnitine, which is shuttling lipids into the mitochondria. Just like putting logs on a fire, this compound feeds our mitochondria, feeds the fuel into the mitochondria, the lipids into the mitochondria, where they can be burned to create energy. The Santa Herba botanical extract, there's 3 different mechanisms. We'll talk about how that works to support mitochondrial function. And then with the inclusion of this product in our MetaPower line, we've included the MetaPower Essential Oil Blend. All right, make sure I didn't skip a slide here. So let's talk about this PQQ. There's a term called mitochondrial biogenesis, and as it implies, we are synthesizing mitochondria inside the body, inside the cell. Inside of each of our cells, we have organelles, and one of these organelles is the mitochondria, and we are generating these mitochondria inside the cell, but we are able to, with this PQQ, the PQQ molecule will tell our cells to make more mitochondria. So as a powerhouse inside the cell, if each mitochondria can produce 10 units of cellular energy, for example, then it stands to reason that if we had 10 mitochondria, we could produce 100 units of cellular energy, or ATP. So one of the intents around the formulation of Mito2 Max is to increase these powerhouses inside the cell so that we can more efficiently and create more actual cellular energy. And that's why we've included that. Down here in the right, you can see the depiction of this ATP synthase enzyme. And we're creating this proton gradient with these electrons that are turning this machinery to create ATP. As an energy store, ATP requires energy to you're basically storing energy. Think of it like compressing a spring, right? You compress the spring and then you can later on transport that spring somewhere else. And then when it releases energy. That's kind of like how ATP works and how we compress the spring inside the mitochondria. And then when it's transported somewhere else, it can release that energy. This is what these cofactors are responsible for. Now, the other unique component besides PQQ is this unique botanical extract, the Santa Herba botanical extract. Now, when we generate energy inside the body, we create reactive oxygen species, right? When we convert food into energy inside our cells, it's kind of a pyrotechnic storm where we're creating these free radicals and things like this. And we need effective antioxidants that can help to neutralize those free radicals so that they don't cause damage inside of our cells. And that's one of the benefits of this botanical extract. It's also been studied and shown to increase our rate of lipolysis, or this burning of lipids for fuel. It's been studied for its ability to increase locomotion, and the ability to move, or the energy to move. And then also in humans, a slimming effect, that as your metabolism increases, then you see the benefits of that increased metabolism as a slimming effect in the clinical trial. So it's pretty unique botanical. So you might wonder, who is this for? As we've been talking from the beginning, and as Lauren mentioned when we got started, I think we can all benefit from having more energy. This group that we're with today, of course, everybody is very busy and probably looking everywhere for this additional energy. So you may be leaning on other types of products for a crutch to mask fatigue. And I would encourage you to consider MetaPower Mito2 Max to actually support mitochondria in creating this energy. Athletes, of course, are expending a lot of energy every time they're competing, out running or exercising, and so they're looking for additional energy as well. Now let's talk about the second product that we're coupling here with Mito2 Max is our MetaPower Recharge, and we'll talk about that. But we've included here this challenge to be able to bring these two companion complementary products together, Mito2 Max and Recharge, to really feel the difference. And so we want to encourage you, if you're using these two products together, to check in with somebody. Use them for a week and follow up with each other. See, am I able to rely on these products to create more true cellular energy, and maybe be able to ditch some of the other crutches that people are commonly relying on, and see with your accountability partner how effective you are at recharging your batteries to 100%. That's really how we're going to get the energy that we need to be living our best lives. Let's talk about this MetaPower Recharge product in a little bit more detail. The name of our product includes some information about what it is and what it does. So Recharge, as the name implies, is providing electrolytes. These are charged ions. They're minerals that are performing all different types of functions throughout our body. And we'll get into what some of those are. But this product is going to help you to feel recharged as you use it for a few different reasons. We'll get into some of these things. So let's talk about the benefits of water. And I'll just put all these up here on the slide. When we think about water, really, it differs a little bit by each individual, but we are more than 50% water by composition. And water is so critical for a number of different processes inside the body. We've got basic hydration. We've got digestion, hydrolysis, right? When we digest food, there's a reaction called hydrolysis where we're breaking down those nutrients into smaller components that can be absorbed in hydrolysis. We know that hydration status is important for our skin, so our skin doesn't dry out and crack. We need water and hydration for joint health to provide that cushion so that we don't have that friction within our joints. We have filtration processes with our kidneys and detoxification, the way that our heart and brain are functioning. Each of these organ systems and processes requires water, and that's why so much of our body is made up of water. So you might wonder, well, what about this concept of hydration? We're talking about cellular hydration with MetaPower Recharge. Is hydration a problem? And it is. I think many of us, we're very busy and we get distracted, and we might even just simply forget to drink the kinds of water that we need to. I know I do. And sometimes I notice I've got a bit of a headache and I wonder what's going on. And I realize, oh, you know what? I don't even know the last time I was drinking water. But it's more than just water. 75% of 75 plus percent of the population in the US is dealing with some level of chronic dehydration, where most people are not very good at getting the hydration that they need and really maintaining those electrolyte stores. So MetaPower Recharge is a fantastic tool to help us get there. So we want to maintain good fluid balance for all the processes that we talked about. We want to provide these electrolytes for proper muscle function to prevent cramping and allow the signal to go from our brains to our nerves to our muscles. This requires signaling at each step, and part of that signaling pathway is involving these electrolytes. And so we want to enhance the hydration status by including these electrolytes and also triggering some unique epigenetics that we'll talk about in a second with this formula. So what's in MetaPower Recharge? We have a baobab extract, which has some pretty cool epigenetic expression, which we'll talk about in a minute. We're delivering the nutrients in liposomal form, as Lauren mentioned. We want to make sure that the nutrients don't just go into your mouth and into your stomach, but they're able to be absorbed and go into your cells. So we're leveraging a liposomal delivery. We have a unique fresh ginseng, and ginseng here is enhancing the way that the membrane potential of our mitochondria, right? We talk about the importance of the mitochondria to produce ATP. And we've included deep sea minerals, trace minerals, and the importance there. They've been studied all throughout the body and their impact in supporting a number of different organ systems. We're making sure that this product, even though it includes all of these wonderful ingredients that help our bodies, we don't want to include ingredients that are harmful. So we're keeping all the harmful components that sometimes you'll see in competitor products out of this product. And then the key electrolytes, of course, with the calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium being your core 4 electrolytes and all the additional trace minerals that we're including in this product. So 2 of those key electrolytes, the sodium and potassium. We get a lot of sodium from our diet generally. That's not usually the problem for people. Sometimes when we are exerting ourselves, when we're running, when we're exercising, when we're not replenishing those electrolytes, we notice it. But more often, we're actually not getting enough potassium. And this potassium and sodium ratio is really important for our cardiovascular health for one reason. There are individuals, there's a certain subset of the population, some estimate it's upwards around 40% or so, who have this condition of salt-sensitive blood pressure, where they respond differently to salts than the other segment of the population. And so when they have significantly higher levels of sodium in relation to potassium, it contributes to elevated blood pressure. And so we want to help to normalize these ratios inside the body. And we've provided a higher ratio of potassium to sodium for this purpose. And it reduces that strain and that pressure on your kidneys and on your heart while providing those 2 of those 4 core electrolytes, potassium and sodium, in an ideal ratio. So That's why we've included those in particular. Now, what about the unique deep sea minerals? Um, these 75 plus trace minerals that you see on a periodic table of elements, they're um, they're providing unique benefit. They're a unique ingredient, but they've also been studied for their impact on numerous different body systems. They're improving the status of each of these different body systems that you can see here listed on the slide. We don't have time to go into each of these impacts, but one of the other more obvious benefits in cellular hydration is their ability to increase the expression of the aquaporin gene. So aquapores, these are facilitating the transport of water between cells. And when we can increase the expression of that gene, we have an increased uh, uh, count or concentration of the aquaporin protein, and that facilitates hydration between cells. So that's why we've included this ingredient. Fresh ginseng is unique. We have ginsenosides here that are improving our mental focus. They're also enhancing the membrane potential of the mitochondria. This unique and ginsenoside profile allows the mitochondria to make the ATP more efficiently. So that's the goal in what we're doing with these two products. We want to support mitochondrial health, and by providing this ginseng extract, we're facilitating a more effective output from your mitochondria. And that shows up in how you feel, right? Less physical fatigue, more physical fitness with our VO2 max as a common measurement there. So we've included this. As this picture depicts, you can see the baobab tree is quite unique. It's referred to as the tree of life. It can store an incredible amount of water. Again, it's able to do this because of the biochemistry. What is going on inside of these trees that is unique? And this baobab extract that we've included it because it's able to influence the epigenetic expression. It's able to increase the production of these aquaporin genes. And then we've demonstrated the ability of this extract to push back on some other markers, some epigenetic markers on biological aging, the Parkin and Pink genes as well. So this is pretty cool, and it goes right along with our cellular hydration as well. Now, as I mentioned, and as Lauren mentioned, it's not enough to simply consume these nutrients. The product tastes amazing. It's easy to use. It has all the good stuff without the bad stuff, but we want to be able to not just absorb, we want to be able to retain these nutrients. So here's a nice visual representation of what a liposome looks like. And these liposomes mimic the structure composition of our cells so we can absorb these nutrients more effectively. And then the nutrient concentration stays elevated longer inside of our bodies, and that's where it matters, right? Inside of our bodies, in our blood, where it can be transported throughout the body. So more important than what you're consuming is how much you're absorbing. And you'll see us continue to focus on that fact as we move forward with our products. So we've put together an important, Lauren and her team have put together an amazing resource for each of you, an ebook on our supplements, and it has extensive details and information about all of our supplements and how they're working and what they contain and what they don't contain. And we want to make sure that in our efforts to support your health and wellness, that we're leaving behind all the things that you don't want, which is what we've put up here on the screen. These environmental toxins and these allergens and things that we want to avoid. So jump into that resource and enjoy getting to know our products better. Thank you all so much. I'll hand it over to Dr. Laura.
Thank you, Alex. Alex is such a great resource. I was actually chatting with him about the Omega fish oil recently. So I learn a ton every time I get to hear from him. And we'll dive back in and talk a little bit more about where science meets soul and these stories and how they become the bridge that really brings it all together. So we're going to meet Alex. Alex is 27 and just landed her dream job. She's climbing the ladder, hitting the gym, meeting friends, and saying yes to every opportunity. But her reality is she's running on caffeine, grabbing takeout between meetings, and collapsing into bed way too late, only to scroll on her phone until 1 a.m. Her skin is breaking out, her sleep is a mess, and she's always tired no matter how much coffee she drinks. Alex wants to feel energized again, not just wired. And she starts a routine with her foundational wellness supplements to give her body the nutrients that it's missing, and our Mito 2 Max to support real cellular energy, our Recharge electrolytes to help her stay hydrated after workouts, and PB Restore to really help with her gut and her immune system and keep that strong. Supermint is her oil of choice for instantly uplifting her mental clarity and giving her that natural energy boost. And within weeks, she's sleeping better, her focus is sharper, and she's no longer chained to her cup of coffee. And this stage of life really speaks to me deeply because in my 20s, I developed a rare cancerous tumor in my abdomen, and I had been ignoring the whispers my body was giving me, pushing through, saying yes to everything, living life without boundaries. I thought my worth came from how much I could do, not who I was. To those in your 20s and 30s, I would say your body is speaking to you for a reason. Care for yourself. Listen to the whispers now so they never have to turn into rebel yells for your attention later. And using these tools that doTERRA gives us for support is huge. Meet Sarah. Sarah's 38, juggling 2 kids, a demanding job, and a side hustle. She is the queen of the 3 p.m. slump. Brain fog sets in, motivation disappears, and her mood is all over the place. She snacks to try to get energy, but it just makes her feel sluggish. Sarah dreams of having the stamina to crush her work projects and have energy left over to play with her kids in the evening. She adds VMG Plus and E Omega Plus for balanced nutrition and hormone support, Mito 2 Max for steady caffeine-free energy, her Recharge electrolytes for hydration and blood sugar stability, and PB Restore for gut and mood support. Adaptive is her favorite essential oil because it invigorates her mood, supports her energy, and it also helps manage those afternoon slumps. She is amazed that her afternoons now feel as good as her mornings, and she can actually enjoy her evenings instead of crashing on the couch. This isn't about pushing harder. It's about giving your body the tools to keep up with life that you've built so that you can actually enjoy it. And this is very important as we transition into a new season of back to school with increased stress. The holidays are coming, increased sugar consumption, and less movement. Maybe you aren't outside staying active now that summer is coming to an end. Maybe you're now in the gym and touching all the stuff that other people have touched. So here's my personal tip for you. If you really want your confidence, energy, and strength to come back, apply some Motivate oil and pick up some iron. Weightlifting doesn't just change your body, it changes your brain chemistry, your posture, the way you carry yourself. Pair that with the right nutrition and our foundational wellness products, and you are going to feel unstoppable. Meet Lisa. Lisa is 49. She's a mom of 2 teens and works full time while caring for her aging parents. She used to have boundless energy. She's crushing up her morning workouts, working all day, and then still having enough in the tank for dinner and friends. But lately, her body feels different. She wakes up tired even after a full night's sleep. Her evenings are a battle between wanting to relax and feeling restless. Some days her workout motivation is gone, and when she does exercise, it takes days to recover. Lisa's biggest dream to stay strong and vibrant so she can travel with her husband in a few years and not feel like she's too tired for adventure. She wants to feel like herself again, confident in her body, steady in her mood, and energized to live the life that she's been building. And that's where her daily routine comes in. VMG Plus and E Omega Plus to replenish the micronutrients her cells need to support energy, hormone balance, and brain health. Mito 2 Max to fuel her mitochondria so she's making steady, natural energy, no caffeine crashes. Recharge electrolytes to keep her hydrated and support muscle recovery so her workouts feel doable again. And PB Restore to nurture her gut health, which plays a huge role in hormones, mood, and sleep. Her favorite essential oil is Clary Calm to support hormonal balance, ease mood swings, and promote better rest. Now, Lisa's not just getting through the day, she's showing up for it. She has energy to hit the gym, focus at work, and still enjoy an evening walk with her husband. She feels like her again, only stronger. And meet Jim. Jim is 62 and recently retired, and his goal is to travel with his wife, stay active with his grandkids, and keep his mind sharp for the hobbies he loves. But lately, he's been feeling more tired, forgetting little things, and even noticing it takes longer to bounce back after a round of golf or a long walk. Jim wants to feel independent, capable, and vibrant for years to come. He uses VMG Plus and Omega Plus for brain, joint, and heart health, Mito 2 Max for sustainable energy, Recharge electrolytes for better recovery and hydration, and PB Restore to strengthen his gut and immunity. Copaiba is his favorite essential oil. He loves how it supports his brain health and is very emotional grounding and helps with overall cellular function. Now, he's not just getting through the day, he's fully present in it, making memories with the people that he loves most.